Okay, so it looks like we're live now. There. Okay, so welcome everybody. We are going to focus on some demonstrations of some generative AI projects that we are doing at Sugar Labs. So we've set things up so that we can test them out for you, showcase them in real time, fingers crossed. So some of these are going to go over what we've done in music, in particular music blocks, taking music, converting it in a way that we can turn it into visual programming. I might have time to show what some of my students have done with that. We're going to go over Pippy, which is the sugar application that helps kids learn Python and explore Python. And we're going to, showcase some other things that we've been experimenting with, in particular, a new personas app that was inspired by last week's meeting with Ken Khan. And then we've been working on exploring some ways that we might integrate some of these things possibly into the website, for example, so that people can find more information about sugar in a variety of different ways, or explore some of the tools that we have, in a way that that integrates with the most front-facing part of a lot of people's web experience by going to our website. So I've got my piano here, I've got my guitar here, so let's get started with a demonstration of audio to MIDI. But while I'm doing that, can everybody who's in the room with me maybe introduce themselves for a second?
Hello, I am Safwan. So I'm selected in GSOC this time, and then I am a maintainer in Sugar Labs. Basically built maintaining the whole of version 2 website, and then we also have a lot of plans to do in the future. Thank you.
Kichi?
Kshitij?
Hello, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Kshitij and I am currently pursuing engineering. I've completed my third year. Last year, I joined Sugar Labs through the Google Summer of Code program, and this year, I'm mentoring some AI based project. Last year, I had worked on the PPAI project where the task was to make coding easy for kids, and that's all about me.
Maybe Chris, you can go next.
Hello, I'm Krish. I will be doing GSOC with Sugar Labs this year. I write activities in Sugar Labs and I do stuff on the side as well.
I think this is the first time I've seen your face.
Me too.
Same. Okay,
Shabam?
so hello everybody. My name is Shubham Singh, and I am a first year student pursuing my engineering, and I am a member of Sugar Labs. And there are two maintainers in WW2 version 2, and I'm one of them, along with Safwan. It's a pleasure to see you all here today.
Hi, and I'm Walter Bender. I'm one of the founders of Sugar Labs and one of the mentors in both GSOC and DMP, and really excited about all the great ideas and great talent we've assembled over the last few months. and looking forward to some really exciting work this summer. I just want, before we get started, I do want to just say a couple things about sugar and AI. Sugar, to a large extent, from the very beginning, was under the influence of both Seymour Papert and Marvin Minsky. They were the co-founders of the AI lab at MIT, co-directors, I should say, of the AI lab at MIT. And Seymour was interested in human learning, and Marvin in machine learning, and how those two concepts cross-pollinate. And I think that Sugar is interested very much in how machine learning can help humans learn. And our interest in AI, and in particular generative AI, which is sort of the hot topic these days, is both, sort of the obvious. Generative AI can help help students build things, and build more things, and build things more quickly, maybe build things that they couldn't build on their own. But at the same time, I think the real opportunity, and I think the theme that Sugar Labs is exploring, as much as the building side, is that generative AI has an opportunity to help the learner reflect on what they've built. So it's not just build, but it's also stop and engage in a discussion, a dialogue, perhaps with humans and with AI, to really understand what are the implications of what you built, how can you build it better next time. So I think this idea of both building and also reflection are both opportunities, and they're really at the heart of how Sugar Labs is approaching the problem. So with that, I hand it back over to our MC, Devin.
Thank you for that perspective, Walter. So first, on that note, there's various entry points that someone can take into what we do here, the things we explore at Sugar, and an important way, and an important entry point is music. There's so much math and music. There's lots of articles that discuss that and support that. I found that through working on music blocks, we can really, put that math at the fore, which has been really exciting. But how do you take something, that you're playing in the physical world, and turn that into something that you can then put into a mathematical playground, if you will, like music blocks. So last year we explored ways to do this, and we found a neural network called Basic Pitch, created by Spotify, and we made an audio to MIDI converter. And so I'll demonstrate that. I'll start with guitar because I understand that instrument better than than the others that I'm going to demonstrate as well. But so if I take my guitar, and let me share the screen. Chromium tab. Can you tell me which one this is? Okay, great. So Krish kindly created a web app for this. Until just recently, we developed it, but there wasn't a convenient way to find it on the web. And maybe Krish, real quick, if you can, make some bullets of where people can find these. So if they want to play with them at home, they can do that. But here it is. It's a really simple interface. You have two different options. You can upload a file, or you can record a file. So I'm going to just record something real quick, and that'll be my test. And I'll turn off my phone because it does pick up the ambient sounds. Okay, so here we go. So I've recorded something. I click on this button again. I probably ruined that last part of the recording by by talking into it. And so on the back end, it's processing the sound that I gave it. I can play back some of it. Looks like I need to stop breathing next time I do that. But I'm going to convert it to MIDI. The sound went down whenever I breathed. And then it produces a MIDI file that I can then take into Music Blocks. And so let me share the whole screen. There we go. Okay, so here's my MIDI file. And then I just put it right here. And then I open up Music Blocks, create a new project so I have fewer blocks on the screen. And then I go over here. Oh, here it is. Let's go to downloads right here. And I can just drag and drop it in. And then it takes, within Music Blocks, it's taking that MIDI file and then it's turning it into visual code for us. So that's pretty cool. I can see already that at the beginning it took some of the ambient sound and turned that into notes that it thought it was hearing. So I'm just going to take that out real quick. Because I started on a B and I know that. And I'll just throw that in the trash, but let's listen to the rest. I need to reshare it because I need to share the sound. Oh, let's take this out. That's not part of my code. That's just the default. So there you have it. So it took what I played, and that was actually pretty faithful rendition of what I played on the guitar. It did take some of the ambient noise at the end and converted that, I guess, into the nearest pitch. But now I have something that I can use in my code. I can also, do other things with it. I can, put it as part of a game. I like the music for a game. I could create some harmonies with it by using intervals. So now I have something that I've played here that I can try some other things with. Maybe just real quick, I'll do scalar interval for the beginning so that you can see what that would be like. So I'm in a minor key, and I think it makes a little more sense if I do down a minor or down in thirds. I'll just do the beginning. If I wanted to, I could add some other elements like, moving the mouse around. So as you can see now, I've got this new entry point where I'm in the physical world. I'm playing an instrument. Maybe I've, as a kid, I've never, done any coding, but maybe I've done music, but this is now my entry point into, doing something with programming. So I think it's a pretty cool new option that we have, and you can see, how it works right here. Anyone in the room, do you have any questions about this, or any other comments you want to make before I move on to maybe one more instrument?
Can you switch the set instrument to guitar just so we can hear it as a guitar instead of piano?
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so in Music Blocks, you have a lot of different instruments you can do. In fact, if I really wanted to get creative, I could, record my own guitar, I suppose, and then make that the sound. But there is a guitar in here. So it was set to piano. Here's guitar. And let's do it without the intervals. Yeah, so there you have it. And it's playing it like about twice as fast as I was playing it, but this is what the original sounded like, just in case you forgot. Anyone else? Any requests?
Can you play Misty?
Yeah. It's been a while since I played that. Though in the fall, I'm going to play some jazz tunes, I hear. So I'm going to be working with someone to brush up on my jazz standards. So I one thing that's an interesting thing that I found with this neural network is it behaves a little bit differently depending on what instrument you're playing. So let me just try with piano. I don't play the piano like super duper well, but in our experiments, it's captured the pitches even better than it has with guitar. So, let's just do one more demo of this. I hear that the piano is being displayed backwards on my video, and we spent, some time before the broadcast trying to figure out ways to flip it around, and I couldn't find any good way to flip it around without putting the camera on top of my head or something like that. So my apologies for that. So okay. think I remembered not to breathe that time. So I think that it recorded it. Yeah, there we go. So one of the next steps is, how can we make this a little bit more seamless? Perhaps even like kind of skipping some of these steps. But for now, this is what we've got. So I'm going to drag and drop this in here. I was playing two different voices, so it'll be interesting to see, how it handles the two different voices too. And that question you saw at the beginning, so we found that if you find, MIDI file just off the internet, some of them, have a lot of data in them. And if you try to make something that has, more than 100 notes that it has to convert from MIDI into visual code, it's got to create, mini blocks, which kind of slows music blocks down. So, that's why we asked that question at the beginning. So I don't believe I played any D sharps or Ds at the beginning. So that's probably just it turning my breathing into the nearest pitch. So let's try this. So I didn't test this one out. So here goes nothing. So it was adding a lot to that, to what I played. One question I have is, which branch am I on? Am I on the best branch for MIDI conversion? But you get kind of a sense of what it does here. I think some of the next steps would be figuring out how to put it into two different voices, because right now everything's in the same voice. So yeah. So at the beginning I did play a C4 and a C5, and it's translating the code like this into a single note block instead of two different blocks. But you can kind of get the gist here, and this could be a starting point where maybe you go voice by voice and then you put it together. But it does still offer an entry point for somebody, regardless of if they're playing, the guitar or the piano. I guess strategically, now that I think of it, I only played one voice when I played the guitar example. So any comments on that? Okay.
It was nice from my point of view.
Yeah.
It was really great, and especially for kids who love to play music, it's a great tool. They can automate this thing. They can automate the notes directly in the music blocks. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm not aware of any other, you know, or like groups like ours that are doing something like this. I could be wrong, but I don't think I've seen, you know, music to visual code, for example, like this. So that's really cool. So the next thing I wanted to show is, you know, how to make, so teachers, when they're, creating different lessons, they could sometimes use some help or, kind of a partner, if you will, to bounce ideas off of. And so one thing that we experimented with last year is making an uh, lesson plan assistant using generative AI, trained on the lesson plans that uh, mainly Walter and I have created for music blocks over the years. There was some other teachers' lesson plans I think that we added to the mix, but mainly Walter and myself. We trained a RAG model, and we created what I'm going to demonstrate here in a second. So let me share my screen. So my app is waking up. Yesterday I did show this to some teachers that teach robotics, and it was successfully able to come up with a lesson plan that integrated robotics with music blocks. Can someone help me come up with a question or a lesson plan idea? Well, keep thinking. I'll write one in. So last year during the summer, I had music teachers create lesson plans for music of different cultures, and not every music teacher was familiar with the music from some of these cultures. So, for example, let's imagine you're trying to fit something in for uh, a week themed on Thai music, and you need a little bit of inspiration. So we can ask it to make a lesson plan on, exploring. Well, we'll just say Thai music first. I don't know if it's familiar with this elephant song. I know there's a kid's song about an elephant. Let's see. So you put this in Cheng. Yeah, that's probably it. And it, one of the most beneficial things from this is it gives you a nice structure for your lesson plan. So it's taken over some of the more kind of redundant tasks of, you know, giving you that a plausible structure, I suppose. So we've got the title, we've got the audience, elementary and middle school students, and of course, all these things, should be reviewed by a teacher and can be changed. But it gives you something to start with. All of our samples that we fed it had, different, time allotments. So it's putting that here. It's got objectives, basic elements of Thai music. Kids will be able to code a simplified version of the elephant song. They'll improve their understanding of rhythm, pitch, and duration. There will be a problem solving and critical thinking component to it. And then kids will learn a little bit more about Thai culture and musical traditions. Materials, it's not forgetting about the fact that we need a computer and then we need music block software, and it's got the URL correct. Headphones or speakers, that's important. Worksheet with the melody of Chang, simplified version. Thai instruments or xylophones, drums for demonstration. I think all of this is a pretty good start. Pictures or videos of Thai elephants and Thai musicians. And then it goes into the lesson, starting with a discussion about elephants. That's fun. Introduce Thailand and its culture. Show pictures or videos of Thai elephants. And then introduce that we're going to learn the Thai children's song about an elephant called Chang. So this is broken up into 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 20 minutes for this part of the lesson. An intro, a listening activity where they learn, the song, and they learn, a little bit more, I suppose, about the history and the theory behind Thai music, with an emphasis on melody, rhythm, and timbre. And then we've got, so this whole thing is now broken up into 4 or 5 different sections. That's actually kind of nice. Like you could say that this is part of a summer camp and you've got 5 days with the kids. And of course you can flesh this out a little bit. You could add a little bit more. It's not providing you with the sheet music for Chang, so you'd have to provide that. So maybe not something you could copy paste and just do right off the bat, but this would certainly, help someone get started coming up with something. This one I'm seeing doesn't have any code in it. The one I did for robotics actually came up with some code. On that note, does anyone have an idea that they want to try? What do you want a lesson plan about? Krish, I choose you.
I mean, we can also demonstrate by giving some music blocks image to explain what is going on. So if someone
yeah?
has a doubt, they can just ask, "Oh, what is happening?" and it should be able to help.
Well, Sumit has one about asking it for loops. I like that idea a lot. So I'm asking it to please create a lesson plan that helps kids explore tradition. Wait, no. Where did mine go? Oh, here, it's down here. Please create a lesson plan that introduces the concept of loops through music and groove. So this one's, getting a little bit more in depth into, what blocks we can use. We can use the repeat block from the flow palette, and it's, correctly identifying that the repeat block is in the flow palette. That we can use note value to specify rhythmic duration. We can use drums. Some of the extensions we can do are changing the tempo. We could try swing. Might be a little early to try something like swing, but I suppose if students are getting done early, you could have that as an option. You can change the instrument just like we did during the MIDI example. Yeah, so you certainly get something that you can start with. Krish, do you want to? Are you prepared to show an example of it starting from an image? I've never tried that, so I don't know
Yeah, you can
exactly.
just, so basically on the browse file, you can just add any music blocks image and it should be, so
Yeah.
when you're like writing the prompt, maybe go to
Okay. Well, I think we probably should move on to another thing, but maybe we'll demonstrate that during a future meeting.
yeah, so here browse files and you can
Yeah.
drop any file.
Does it have to be music block specific, or could it be something else?
Yeah, it would help you in music blocks ideally. So it's basically like,
Yeah.
I mean, it technically could be anything, but it would be able to find, like, figure out, oh, it's music blocks, and maybe even tell you where you're going wrong if it's not correct.
Here, I'll give it a super basic one. So is this for debugging, or is this for creating a lesson plan?
I think it's just like general help in music blocks because it knows music block. It should be able to help you like this. Yeah.
And then I ask a question.
Yeah.
This is a screenshot of our default Sol Mi Sol, and I'm going to say I don't know what to do next. Wow, look at that. You have 3 note blocks, Sol, Mi, and Sol, and it's even telling me what it is in alphabet, G, E, and G. It's got the octave correct, the duration correct, it's got the instrument correct. Think about melody. You have a couple of notes already. What kind of melody do you want to create? Try adding more note blocks. Makes sense. Experiment with rhythms. The duration of the notes affects the rhythm. Try using different fractions to change the rhythm and make it more interesting. Add more instruments. Use additional set instrument blocks to add more sound, loops, and repetition. Experiment with octaves. Keep experimenting and have fun creating your music. Cool. That's kind of astonishing. Thank you for that. Okay, so next, let's hand it off to Kshitij. Kshitij worked on Pippi and AI last year and is a GSOC mentor for us this year.
Hi. So let's understand what Sugar AI is. So Sugar has multiple activities like the Pippi chat activity, write activity. So last GSOC, mentors came with an idea of developing a repo which would contain all the AI models, and these AI models would be integrated with the existing Pippi activity, existing Sugar activities. So let me share you the repo and explain you the basic stuff about it. Is the screen visible? Can someone confirm?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so this is the Sugar AI repo where the models are going to be deployed. Currently, Krish has deployed this Sugar AI project, which he'll be explaining in some time. And this is the place where all the AI models, which would be different, of course, for different activities. The primary reason for doing this is that AI often lacks human emotions, and have we cannot make or let kids communicate with robots. So the purpose of making this repo is to make dedicated AI models for dedicated tasks for the dedicated activities which we have. Let me explain you with the example of the Pepe activity which I had worked on last summer. So Pepe activity is a place where kids learn how to code Python, and the model which I had used was Llama 3.1 model. So directly using the Llama 3.1 model would not be so beneficial for the kids, as the our purpose for using this generative technology is to make them learn Python and not only generate the codes for them. So we are currently implementing that AI debugger project this summer. Let me show you the work which I did last summer. Okay, so this is the original Pepe activity where the kids learn how to code Python. And this last summer, we completed integrating an AI model using the Llama 3.1 model. Okay, so this is the new UI where the AI model has been integrated. This is the screenshot of my locally. I have integrated the model locally. It is yet to be deployed and yet to be deployed for the use. So the challenges while making these models are two primarily. First is that these models must serve the purpose of the activity. Means it needs to be fine tuned according to the purpose of what the activity is. So my activity was based on helping kids write code, and my co-mentee named Quiziang had for a chat activity where kids can chat with the chatbot. So while working with kids, we need to take care of the multiple things, like the language is too simple, it's structured, it's broken into points, and it should be short and sweet. It should be more interactive. So for that, we also used help of multiple different architectures. I used help of RAG architecture because for certain data sets were not available for the GTK and other things. So it prevented kids from learning those technologies. So we implemented RAG model, and my co-mentee Xiang, who is not able to currently come in this meet, he used two models. I am unable to recollect those models. The first model would generate some answer, and that answer would be refined by the second model. The purpose of doing this was that the answer which was being generated by the first model was too generic, and that would not be very good for the kids to interact with. It would not make things interesting. So he decided to go other way around, and he implemented the second model in the pipeline, which made the chats more interactive. And this way, last summer we worked on this project. This project is currently in the working phase, and mentors pointed out one point that instead of directly generating the code, see here you can see that the Llama model has directly generated the entire code. So the mentors gave an idea that instead of generating entire code, let's build an AI debugger for PP. Instead of generating entire code, it would give the kids the idea or the direction of moving and completing the project. This would help them boost their creativity instead of relying on these AI generated content. So this summer we are going to work on the AI PPAI debugger, which is some extension of this work which we had done last summer. So that's what we had done last summer, and this summer I would Krish is working on the sugar dashboard, which I would like to invite him and he can put his points.
Yeah, sure. I'll just show you guys what we have been up to. So once we like set up the whole sugar AI, we would want other people to easily integrate with us. So we'll have this dashboard for everyone, and I'll just screen share it as my more better way. Yeah, this should be visible. So this is still in a working phase. This is not we are up to right now, but so we would have a dashboard where people can get started and they can just be like, how do I what can I do? So we'll have endpoints. So we'll have to think about how do we actually deploy this and integrate with activities. So we'll need to have people knowing what API they can use. So we have all these APIs, and you can get your API key, and these are all the endpoints that we have. I'm not gonna go in depth over everything technical. Might just get just too technical. So we'll also have this dashboard where basically if someone doesn't want to code and they just want to see what output they will get, they can go to the dashboard and this is what the dashboard will look like. I have already logged in with the admin key, so this is where they can chat, and I can also do that, but I, you know, I don't have a really good model to actually work around with. But this is what we have been up to right now. So anyone can just like come to Sugar AI on our deployed version, integrate, get the API, can hopefully just integrate with any activity that we are planning to do this summer. So we'll have a speak, we'll have reflection, and that goes seamless, and that is what Sugar AI is supposed to do.
That's great. Krish, can you also show your Persona app that was inspired from
Oh yeah.
Ken Khan's guest appearance, I guess, at last week's meeting?
Yeah, so this is basically, he mentioned about how we can have like two AIs talking to each other. Do you have any one that you
Maybe
want
just
to
start with the
perhaps?
single persona first, and then
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So I'll keep the developer mode on. It just shows me what prompt is getting generated. Do you have anyone in mind who you would want to talk to? So this would just basically Google stuff about them and generate a system prompt that the AI would use, and you can just talk to that person. Anyone, perhaps. Or maybe even you.
Go with some cartoon character.
What?
Cartoon character.
Mickey Mouse would be good. So now this is basically just Googling stuff and adding the text layer to the LLM so that it can actually get a better persona. So now I can be like, hey, who are you? And they just so this is how Mickey was kind of demonstrated in the
I
series.
can just read that in my mind with his this thing accent.
Yeah, same. So basically, this is for, let's say, if you're talking to someone technical, and you can also like ask about websites. But if it's a fictional character, of course, it's trained to make it so that it follows the timeline of its life. So if you add someone like Einstein and you ask about websites, it would reply with, "Oh yeah, I'm sure." Because the LLMs know what is an website, but Einstein actually doesn't know. So it would say, "Oh, I do not know, but I would still show you something because you're still Googling stuff." So that is the single persona. And now you can also have two people and you can just let them talk to each other.
Well, let's stay on one persona for just a second. So Ken Khan,
Oh,
what inspired this was you could talk to historical characters, you could and explore history that way. You could also like talk to inanimate objects. Try talking to the Grand Canyon. How about that? Let's not talk to Christopher Columbus. Let's try the Grand Canyon.
So
and once it's loaded up, ask the Grand Canyon how it was formed. Like how were you born?
so now it also has the saving of chat. You can just download the chat and
Yeah,
import
so
it again.
if you read this, you see things like between 30 and 70 to 30 billion years ago. Oh, my story began nearly 2 billion years ago. So we start like touching upon some interesting topics within a conversation like this. There's some geography here too. It's talking about where the Grand Canyon is. So I think that was, and now you're using the reference feature, right? Is that where you got this
Yeah.
from? Yeah.
Yep.
So now we're taking a learner
This is
into grandcanyontrust.org. Go down again, and some other nps.gov. So that, a learner who might be like researching this can, go a little bit more in depth and also kind of verify some of the information that they're reading in here.
There is not woman in the loop.
So great. Now that we've looked at this, can maybe now you can show us the persona room.
Persona. Yeah. So, do you have any figures that you want to try?
I mean, the other day I was doing Stephen Hawking and Albert Einstein. I don't know if
We could.
anyone here has their favorite astrophysicist they want to talk to.
Oppenheimer.
We could try. What's something that children would want to talk to?
Well, my 7-year-old would want to talk to Albert Einstein. I can guarantee that. Neil
Okay,
deGrasse Tyson. You could try that. You could try Albert Einstein and Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, this would be. I can be like have the discussion agenda for the room and let them talk, and I can also, of course, talk because what's the point
Yeah.
if I just see two elements talking? So flat Earth, maybe. I think both of them might have some.
I think they're
practical
gonna both
skills.
agree on the geometry of
Yeah.
our planet.
Wow. Him using the current technology is just kind of
So-
unfair.
So does this one also have sources? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
they
Walter
just
has a
didn't
request
use it.
here. Walter has a request about trying to build a
Oh,
time
yeah.
machine.
That's it. So the sources come up if they actually use it, but I don't think so they're using it right now because they're both I would assume an LLM would search up when they're not sure. Imagination. Still can't understand. Let Einstein reply.
So we received reports that Krish successfully built a time machine and went back in time, and now he's back. So with the information that he got from there, we are out of time. But I want to thank everyone for showing up, and I hope that was an enjoyable hour for everyone, and gave you some ideas of what you can do, and also some insight as to what we're doing here at Sugar Labs. Okay, so thanks again.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.